It feels good to watch and read and listen to content about how to better yourself. You can watch self-improvement videos until you're completely exhausted, trying to find the perfect 5 a.m. morning routine, and then the perfect workout plan, and the perfect productivity journal, then figuring out the perfect breakfast and meditation technique that will fix your mental health, making sure to stack 5 different types of high-quality content in the morning while you take a dump. Whereas, if you just woke up at a decent time, ate a decent meal, say, eggs and toast, then sat with your thoughts for 5 minutes, then you're already improving each day, little by little. And you won't have wasted all that time trying to find the perfect success tips and techniques and answers to life, which were overwhelming you and were only going to serve to burn you out trying to implement them all anyways, getting stuck in analysis paralysis like so many times before. The issue with self-improvement is it makes us think that we need to know the best possible way to do things. You may have heard the saying, perfect practice makes perfect. The problem with things like this is they reinforce the idea of having to be perfect before you start, with a simple phrase that in theory sounds right, but in practice doesn't make any sense at all. Because the only way to get to perfect practice is to practice. And even then, perfect is a false metric. Olympians who are at the highest level in their sport still aren't perfect, because if they were, it would all be tied more often than not. Self-help gurus aren't perfect because they have bad days too, where they're overwhelmed no matter what they say about their perfect solutions to all of life's problems. Even the richest people in the world, with the hottest partners and the cutest kids, the fastest cars, aren't perfect because they give up so much of their life to pursue money in the hope that it will bring them happiness, losing their health, time, family, and hobbies that made them happy along the way. But of course, in Instagram culture, we don't see that side of things. Why would anyone want to show us how miserable they are? How much they're actually struggling? We are sold this lie of perfection punctuated by a fear of missing out, when the answer in front of us this whole time has been to just do. For me, this realization came when I was chatting with a buddy from high school. We met up for lunch, and he was in incredible shape. We started chatting about fitness, and he told me that after I introduced him to working out in high school, he started to actually go for it and take some of the advice I'd given him a few years later during the lockdown, because he had nothing else to do. And over those 2 years, he shaped himself into someone who could have been a personal trainer. Meanwhile, I spent my lockdown the same way I'd spent all those years since high school, researching, learning, and intaking information, telling myself that I was educating and motivating myself to take action someday soon. A soon that had been years in the making. A soon that I already had all the information I needed for years prior. After him and I parted ways, I got to thinking, and I realized that this was the normal course my goals took in life. I would want to do something, look into it, intaking dopaminergic information because it felt good, all the while avoiding the task at hand, telling myself I was gaining information to make it easier to take the first step, analyzing instead of acting, building the walls of my comfort zone instead of breaking them down to actually improve. I think we do this a lot as people, and maybe you can relate, but that begs the question, what's the solution? Well, it's the scariest option, but also the most obvious. We have to act, one step at a time. Massive action isn't necessary, despite what all the internet gurus will have you believe. Yes, it can help. Going monk mode for 6 months could be just what you need, but it could also burn you out. And if you're here watching this video, there's a good chance you've already tried, or tried to try, and it ain't working out so well. I've been there. That's why I'm making this video. That's why I made this channel. Most of the time, all you need is a starting point to begin. That could be a single set of an exercise that you do every day just to build the habit of working out at a consistent time. Or one day a week that you practice that sport or hobby so that next summer you can join that league you wanted to. Maybe it's just giving a compliment to that attractive stranger to gauge if they're open to talking and build your social confidence. The key is not to do everything all at once. but rather to build up to it by exposing yourself to new things. Little by little, practicing the ability to step outside your comfort zone and get some wins under your belt. So I want you to think about what that one thing is for you. And maybe there's a list, but you can tier them. What is that top thing on that list? And what is the minimum place that you can start from to begin practicing at it, integrating it into your life? Write that down once you have it. Now, this isn't a sunshine and rainbows, easy fix to all your problems. You're going to have fallbacks. There's a good chance you'll revert back into avoidant behavior at one point or another. That's okay. Make the promise to yourself that if you fall back on one day, that's okay, but never 2 days in a row. And that's one way you can really keep the ball rolling on the days that you fall backwards. Like anything, it's a work in progress, and progress is the goal. Think about how far you would be now if you'd started a year or two ago, and just done the little minimum thing. That's all I'm saying you should ask of yourself now, so that a year or two from this point, you don't feel even worse than you do right now. Small wins compound over time, so give them the credit they're due. And before you know it, you'll be making moves and racking up wins. So get out there and start something incredible.